I have to hit it recording now. I don't know. I
All
guess
right.
let's do it then. I guess scroll down to my other shot.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I don't have quite as many notes here, but it's not that long a film, is it?
I was gonna say no, it's not very long.
Welcome to Aural Hygiene. It is a podcast where we talk about educational films, experimental films, caught films, interesting documentaries. This is Matt here. You
Hola.
are, yeah. I was like sitting here
Andres.
I was trying to think of any Spanish other than the me gustas staring me in the face, and it just like wasn't coming because the only Spanish I remember I did type in my notes, which is tengo una minchia tanta,
Which means
I forgot. Yeah, go ahead because I forgot.
I have a lot of the
Means something
potato chip.
horrible.
I don't know what's that last word.
Tanta. I think it was a Frank Zappa song.
Okay.
That's why it probably means something horrible. Oh well,
I have a lot of racist old cowboy show. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be it. But this is today's film is Me Gusta.
Yeah.
Which I'm not being offensive because they literally say it that way in the movie like 20 times, so it's fine, I guess.
I mean, it is an offensive movie. And you know what? I owe you an apology because when I remembered seeing this, I didn't remember it being this long, and I didn't remember it being so like such an assault to watch. But
Yeah,
this thing,
it was a little bit like the dawn of an evil millennium from a few weeks ago.
but Dawn of an Evil Millennium, at least the illusion of a plot.
That one's supposed to assault you in senses too. Like
I think
very
that
clearly.
was the idea. This Me Gusta, while intended to be an educational film shown in Spanish classes that they expected people to buy from them and then show, and it said what? There's 27 other volumes. That had to have been a joke.
Oh yeah, it was a joke because a lot of this was here's what it is. They assembled it as if it was like Monty Python, but like done by a Monty Python with like negative talent.
Oh God. I'm gonna do my best to describe what this is.
Go for it, because that's the guest job, definitely not mine.
It's a compilation. It is, I would consider it experimental film. Kind of hard to know if they really meant it to be educational or not, because some of the jokes they make in it are like the beginning of it says this may contain nudity, and of course it doesn't.
Well, they say they're kidding.
Yeah,
just kidding, haha, because we're funny.
But this instead of teaching you a lot of Spanish, which in 20 minutes you could learn a lot, and instead just repeats "me gusta."
You learn that phrase
over and over and over again. There's little bits, but for the most part, and I didn't count how many times "me gusta" is said, but that could be a game one could play that would make "me gusta" more interesting to watch. What you see.
Important breaking news.
Yes.
Tengo no manchia tanta means I've got a big bunch of dick.
Wouldn't that be big bunch of dicks?
No, it seems you're talking about the size of your own, but it's coming out weird.
Bunch seems to.
Okay, I guess more literally it would be I've got a dick this big, but I like the one that says I've got a big bunch of dick.
That's pretty funny.
Okay. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. I thought that was important.
No.
Probably more important than this movie.
Yeah. No, I'm failing to see like the educational value in this, because really Me Gusta will only give you just maybe you'd be able to eke maybe a minute or two out of it. I can't imagine a classroom enduring this unless they are in really bad trouble for something.
Or they'd gotten high in the bathroom. Then this would be awesome.
To your point, I think the people that made this, big Cheech and Chong fans.
Yeah. But at the same time, I still wrote, is this like trauma-based teaching?
I mean, that's kind of close to what I was saying, I think, because every time and some of the footage is repeated and some of the themes are repeated, so there are like mini sequences, but for the most part, it seems to be all found footage with a
Oh, those
ninja.
were sketches. Oh yeah,
Oh
that
yeah,
seems to be an actual ad for the Ninja Turtles because
just pops up randomly.
the date at the end was 1987. That's like 2 years before the anime or the anime. See, I called it before the cartoon. They call everything anime in Japan. Before the
Mhm.
cartoon and before the NES game, I think that was a few years earlier. So it really was just like a independent comic book for some reason being plugged in the middle of this thing.
That was really super strange because the video actually becomes normal feeling for a moment. uh in that the whole pacing, the consistent with the Magusta thing stops for a moment, few moments, where while they deliver this ad out of nowhere for seemingly no reason,
And then
for
they're
the Ninja Turtles.
yeah, which they assume you haven't heard of because you didn't in 1987. And
Is
then
that
for
right? I thought the show
you can
was
correct
out
me if
by
I'm wrong. I feel like it predated that a bit, but yeah, I could be wrong. But and the kid's like just reading a how to draw them book. It's not even like an actual Ninja Turtle comic, even though they name drop the creators.
they did that was really odd. Yeah,
Because they didn't mention anything about video games or cartoons. They're like, oh, this is going to be the next sensation, which it's more surreal because that turned they were correct.
that's true.
So
That's true.
okay, these guys were trend spotters. They were not filmmakers.
Oh God. No, I wouldn't even call this. I mean, I would stop short of terrorism, but I would definitely say that these people were like some sort of video artists, because there were old movie footage in it, a lot of stock footage in it, and they dubbed over whatever the people were saying and just had the people saying no me gusta means I don't like it, and me
That's
gusta means I like it.
maybe that's because this was around the time they were showing Lance Not Link on MTV.
Lancelot Link, we're going to need to describe for people that, because a lot of people I know that watched MTV and Nick at Night don't remember Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp.
Yeah. And actually, I will leave you to that one. I'm only getting flashes of images in my head.
Yeah. I mean, Nickelodeon was not on at night. Originally, it was children's programming during the day, and then it would just be nothing at nighttime. This was in the 80s. And so most people know now as Nick and Nick Jr. But back then, it would just stop at a certain point in time. And so they developed this thing called Nick at Night. That was whatever they had the rights to show, which is usually a lot of old stuff. Laugh-In was on there, Car 54, Mr. Ed. But one of the things they had on there was called Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp. And it was an old show, definitely from the 60s. And all the characters were actual chimpanzees. And they put them in like clothes and stuff and put them on sets and gave them props, makeup, wigs, you name it. And Lancelot Link was supposed to have been a parody of Humphrey Bogart, a detective of sorts. And it just looked like they were electrocuting these poor things when
Yeah,
they needed
yeah.
them to.
But the dubbing quality I felt was kind of like maybe the people that made this were kind of had that in mind or something.
Yeah, there was no real concern because obviously you don't have that many old movies or shows where anyone is saying anything close to no me gusta. But
Right. So
I I just have to throw this in there. I definitely think something was actually like wrong, like upstairs with the people that made this, because no one could make is it 15 minutes?
it
Is
was
it
like
10?
no, it was 13.
That's like 3 times too long. Like even 5 minutes of this stuff, you would start to go like, oh God, I think this is making me insane. But definitely at the 13-minute mark, I mean, this is hard to watch. And like I say, I do apologize for making you watch this because my memory of No Me Gusta was that it was crazy, but it wasn't this long. So I want to say I saw a shorter version of this many
Yeah,
years ago.
the YouTube print did say a complete version, suggesting that there were shorter versions because again, you'd have to be a little nutty. I don't know. I suppose an eighth grader's attention might be held, but after that Ninja Turtles at, I'd be angling to take a piss break, raising my hand. It's piss break time.
It's way too much. It goes on for far too long. But this does have a reputation though for being like one of these like notorious internet videos,
Yeah. I just assume. See, I assume the students would be getting stoned in the bathrooms and coming and watching it. The people that made it were just pretending to be stoned. They never touched the stuff.
Yeah, no, they were just flat out wanting to control people and get in their heads. But yeah, right away, we talk about educational movies, and this I think does fall into this weird category of a couple of things that we cover in this, which would be the experimental film and the educational film.
And I guess a bit of caught film for those that had high school Spanish. And
I was going to say a bit of notoriety because apparently people did see this in school.
Yeah.
I don't.
So you did not see it in school.
Absolutely not, dude.
Okay.
I mean, I can't. That was what I was getting ready to say. Was I can't imagine any teacher playing this. Every educational film we've watched up to this point seemed to have some sort of value to it and was at least intended to be a serious thing. Some definitely, even though they're funny to watch sometimes. But this, I can't see a teacher watching this and going, yeah, that's the thing I'll play for them to learn. I think it seems like, do you remember hearing those stories about Guantanamo where they would play like, death metal for people or the blues song or just like the chicken dance, things to like break people psychologically.
Right.
I think that this could be used to do that. What do you think?
Yeah. I think this is choice for that. Definitely.
That could be where its notoriety comes from. If a class was shown this, no way they saw the whole thing.
I should, because I wrote, does it really take 13 minutes to learn one phrase, probably for idiot children, right? So
yeah, I don't know. No, at this point, the teacher would have had to have flatlined.
And I also
just quit his job and never came back.
a Clockwork Orange secretly teaches you way more Russian than this teaches you Spanish.
That I saw that was a good point.
Because
you could actually learn some Russian on Clockwork Orange.
Right, because horror show, we're like, why is horror show something good? Because that sounds like the Russian word for good. It's like just they phonetically put it in English. So especially if you read the book, you'll come out like part of he wanted to be like, oh, I'm going to show you that you can be altered or mind controlled by, hey, guess what? You know some Russian now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say when you're watching experimental film, you do see some things that could try your patience, or definitely try the patience of someone who's used to the typical 3-act structure or things having a resolution, any sort of plot. But I think for something like this, they were playing. I think the joke is that it's crazy.
That is the joke. That's why they do the Monty Python thing. They have no talent.
Yeah.
They're just completely lacking in talent. Who knows if this was made by talented filmmakers, it might have been decent, but there's just, this is
it's a mess that doesn't seem to progress into anything other than what it is the entire time. Does that make sense? Like it doesn't.
Again, MTV at the time, they were catching Lance Don't Like on there because I know I think it was on MTV before Nick at Night, and then they were catching Monty Python reruns on MTV in the mid '80s, right? So they probably had the young ones on, Yeah,
Nick at Night had Turkey Television. Also, there was there's one that I'm missing, the Monkeys.
Yeah, the Monkeys would show up. I have never actually seen that much of the Monkeys. I've probably seen the movie Head way more than the TV show.
Oh God, you're gonna want to watch that. I would never recommend someone watch the show instead of the movie. The movie's brilliant.
Oh, I love the movie. Yeah, but I was gonna say, you said a teacher would never show this. When I was student teaching, so I was the intern basically. They call it student teaching, and I'd probably mentioned this on a podcast before. But there's one day where the guy just decided to play the Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of the Moon all day. They don't fit at all, by the way.
Oh, I know. I was one of the people that went to when the Georgia Theater did it in Athens, where they actually played it through the speaker system and had it go along with it. I think people were just using it as an excuse to get bombed out of their skulls. because nothing lined up.
You do know the legit one to do, right?
The
That's
ones that
also
legitimately do.
if you take the last track on Pink Floyd's Metal, which is Echoes, started on 2001, right when it says Infinite and Beyond, the last section of the movie. Start the track there. Fits perfectly.
Okay. I want to say I was at someone's house in New Jersey that did that, but I didn't pay attention because they were high. So I thought there's no way this is going to work. So I would like to. Okay.
That one does work. Like the music completely changes tones when he enters the Stargate. It gets kind of abstract when he gets into the White Room. It ends exactly when the movie ends. So
nice. Okay.
It's clear they were. I think they really were doing a bit of like fantasy soundtrack work.
Yeah, some
fantasy
site score or whatever. Yeah. No.
I say fantasy basketball, baseball, which it,
I don't
whatever
know.
it is. Let's
No,
fantasy fuck now.
No, that's awesome. Me Gusta only lines up with your own death rattle.
Get a recording of that, loop it, play it over.
Yeah, I don't. I'd say who would you recommend this to? I have something in my mind that a specific type of person I would recommend this to. But who do you think would go like seek something out like this and watch it to the end?
Post lobotomized Nicholson and Cuckoo's Nest.
It's a good one.
McMurphy. Sorry, I couldn't quite get the character's name at first.
Yeah. I think that curious people like me who are just want to make sure they check off all the boxes of the agreed upon weirdest stuff out there will watch some but not all of this. If they do end up watching all of it, it's because they've made friends of theirs sit through it to see who breaks first,
or they have to do a podcast.
Yeah. But I do say, I mean, I'm sorry to you because it was way longer than what I'd remembered and way more tedious than I'd remembered. But also to anyone that listens to this and then wants to check this out, I don't think we've made it sound most. Well, I don't think we've made it sound great, but I think we've made it sound like I have to at least see some of it.
Yeah, but it seems there is quite a cult of people that like dig this.
Great.
I don't know any Spanish. I had a half semester of Spanish because I had to take a language when I was doing journalism originally. So I took half a semester. The teacher was like a teaching assistant, like not a professor or anything. And they were like, I think they were actually insane. Like they just didn't make sense, They weren't mean. They didn't make sense as like a functioning person. I remember one day she came in with the foil wrap and it's a little dots of candy.
Yes.
And I really thought she might be handing us acid.
I mean, I know what candies you're talking about, and one could easily, one probably has used that for that purpose.
But she was going around giving everyone one. I'm like, what the hell is this? Anyway, I dropped that. Then I took a term of Latin, which I actually had a good teacher for and learned a little bit that I don't remember anything of. And then had a second term of Latin and dropped it and changed my major, and I didn't need a language anymore.
Yeah, I had 3 consecutive years of Spanish, but I was at a point where I could definitely understand it when I heard it spoken. It was okay at speaking it back, very basic things. Reading it, I was kind of no good at, but I've lost fairly. I would say I've lost probably 75% at this point. But at a point in time, I would think in Spanish, which is I think where you want to be.
It's like the opposite of my Japanese, because my reading isn't terrible. I mean, for the lots of kanji, but for the normal things, I can usually figure out what a sign's getting at, right? Mm-hmm. Listening's kind of half-assed, and my speaking is just like no.
I often wondered how that was going for you over there.
No, people often get questions, and people ask me a question. The question's in Japanese, but I'll answer in English. Like, yes, I understand your question, but you're not getting the answer back in Japanese. or a few broken words. It's weird because reading, I seem to be better than a lot of the other foreigners around me at reading, like way better at that. But then speaking, I just suck it.
Oh, yeah, that's not what I would necessarily expect, just because of the nature of the characters and all of that. But I guess if you, in a way,
Well,
that's
there's kanji. Those are Chinese ones. Those are real difficult.
huh?
Then there's hiragana. There's 46 symbols only. That's used for Japanese words, and that's just phonetic. And then there's katakana, which is usually used for foreign words, and that's another 46 symbol set. So yeah, that's a whole lot more than like remembering the alphabet. But well, actually, upper and lowercase is just twice, right? So, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, and if it's phonetic, that's
if you know the phonetic symbols, you're halfway there. And a lot of times I'll sit there and like, I'm reading something Japanese and I might actually not know what it's saying, but I can read it like out loud. And then sometimes you're sitting there. Now I recognize a lot more, but I remember looking at menus. Okay, kahi, kahi, kahi. What is that on the menu? Want to take a guess? Kahi.
coffee.
Yes, coffee. But you're looking at you're saying out loud sometimes just to sound it out. Coffee. People are like, you're saying coffee. Oh, so I am.
That's what I thought.
I recognize it. I recognize it now. Like I'll instantly recognize the ramen sign now. So.
God, I would hope so. I think people who are listening to this got more of a language lesson in the last 2 minutes of this podcast than the entirety of the movie we're discussing, Gusta. So I would just say watch at your own risk, and I'm not kidding.
Gusta. See, I learned something.
And get out as soon as you can.
Your website has no Spanish. Website's not even see. It's because we just did the kids guide the internet. Like, where is your website?
That was an easy segue, but this one a little rougher.
Yeah, it's a little rougher. It doesn't make sense here.
No,
where do people find you in the technological like tumults of wires, man?
We do have a couple movies in Spanish. Gonzoriffic, Gonzoriffic. This is my friends and I make our own movies, and our latest Areola Jones and the home video Vixens is out on DVD, and one of the movies that's in it, I believe, is called Kosh Kosh Canard, and that's a completely French language movie, but these are our mixtapes. There's a whole bunch of movies on it. It's a great value, and in the United States, we've got the Plex channel, PLEX. That's a streaming service, the Roku device. Space Boobs in Space. Go give it a watch. That's a Gonzoriffic classic.
What, y'all don't speak no American in your movies?
I don't think Americans speak this dang movie. I want this whole thing with a piece of dang cheese melted on the dang top of it.
Melt cheese on the movie. It's like that's like back in the day when the little kids would like try and put a sandwich in the VHS.
I can really hear the lettuce.
I guess there was a round of kids doing that with DVD players too, I suppose. I got lucky. My daughter like never broke anything.
No, this has been our experience as well. Nothing was broken. I think that's something that boys typically do.
Okay, yeah, because regular co-host around here, Scott, his kids go around destroying everything. Oh. He's always like, my phone's broken again. I think they're getting a little older. He doesn't have that problem quite as much now.
Even when mine was little, though, dude, never.
The same here, but I just remember a few years ago, just like everything was always broken. So
it sucks. Maybe you shouldn't break all your stuff in front of them because that's how they learn.
Yeah. I guess they're better at it now. The worst I think that happened is my daughter has a phone just for around the house. Like it's not actually cellular, and she had somehow fumbled around with the password, and it took me like 20 minutes the next morning to fix that, because that's also my account. And she was like apologized about like relatively profusely. I'm like, you just hit the wrong button somewhere. I get it. It was just like I was more pissed at Apple for making it so freaking difficult, Oh
no, it's these things. They're so locked up that even you can't get to them. I had a friend whose kid charged $500 worth of something on an app, and Apple eventually called them. The kid was definitely sorry, but they refunded it.
Okay. Anyway, did I say my thing? That's Aural Hygiene. That's what you're listening to now. It's Facebook. It's Twitter. It's maybe some other places as well. It's part of a series of podcasts under the Patreon umbrella of Podcastio Podcastius. You can dig it there. And again, getting back to our review of this movie.
No me gusta.